Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is I, Dr. Juvenile, with the iconic blue shirt from a little image that I like to use. Look, let's make the pose. It was just like it. Man, amazing. That's for all my Brazilian friends and my friends that know me from really and know what image I'm talking about. Today, we're making a very simple video and a very basic one, and that is why I am like this. I have my computer right here. I may be looking at that screen once in a while. And I have my information right here. We're gonna talk through it. We're gonna blaze through it. This is gonna be a very casual video. So if you're expecting, wow, an amazing researched video, no, not this time, sadly. This time we're gonna actually be going pretty quick because I wanna talk about 3 videos that I made. That's right, 3 of them. Can you imagine that? Whoa, that is gonna be crazy. Not 2, not 1, 3. Whoa, can you see my fingers? I really wanna do that. Wow. Okay, let's begin talking. So first things I wanna talk about the format that I do the videos is that when I make the videos, I wanna combine enemies that are very similar in purpose and usage. The best example of that is in the Motobug video. Where the Motobug video, I got a few comments from a person on the video, and that is kind of what inspired for me to do the video, because they asked, dude, Rhino tanks are not similar at all to Motobugs, which I would agree to a certain extent, but when you look at the usage and other design parts of the Rhino tank, it is very similar to the Motobug. Wow. And a quick thing first, this is not a video to talk crap about the person who made the comments. No, in fact, it's supposed to kind of explain a little bit of the decisions I made and correct some errors, because boy did I make some errors in that video. But anyways, let's begin talking about the Motobugs. So first I want to actually add a few Motobugs that should have been added and mention some that maybe could fit, but I'm going to include somewhere else. So the first one that we have here is the Spring Shell from Sonic Triple Trouble. If we look at the Spring Shell design, it has basically the same purpose and same idea as the Bane Motoras, right? The ones with the springs from Sonic Chaos. And the design is very different. It looks like a turtle, and it has 2 sets of wheels, and that is why I didn't include that one. It's very different, and it actually fits more with another Batnik that we're gonna talk in the future. There are two from Sonic Extreme that I actually really want to talk about, which is the Dingo and the T-Rex, possibly the T-Rex. If we look at the design for the Dingo, it clearly has 1 wheel, and it doesn't look like a Motobug. And this is the part where I kind of want to explain why it fits into the Motobug series, or in this case, the Motora, right? And this kind of fits in with the Rhino tank as well. Even though it doesn't look like a bug, or it doesn't look at all like a Motobug, and we can all agree with that, right? Doesn't look anything like it. The Dingo and the Rhino tank have one design idea that is exactly like the Motobugs, which is the one singular wheel, and the fact that it goes fast, I guess. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about the Rhino tank soon, but for the Dingo, we actually don't know much about it since it's an cancelled game. However, it has very similar design traits to the Motobug. Hey guys, this is Andre from editing, and I actually want to bring up something really quick, and that I only noticed when I was editing this video, is that most likely this is a Batnik that could have a very different purpose than the Motobug. So it wouldn't be for taking out plants from the ground, but it would be made for combat. The reason being is that we can see on the animation of the Dingo that I showcased earlier, here's on the screen again as it's playing, right? We can see a little bit of some frames of animation where the rockets light up, and then like exactly kind of on one frame the rockets are gone, so he probably would shoot those rockets, and so that gives it a little bit more of an interesting use. The fact remains that we don't know exactly what it could be used for exactly, because we don't have access for the game, so it could be anything from combat to blowing up rocks, anything, we can't know. Other than that, enjoy the rest of the video. The T-Rex is also another one that maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. The T-Rex, it looks like on its design it has one huge wheel, and maybe its feet is what kind of rolls that around. So it could be like some sort of steam roller or something, stream roller or something like that, right? Stream roller, what am I talking about? Road roller. Dang. I don't know how to talk. But anyways, it could possibly be some sort of road roller or something like that. But again, for the Dingo and the T-Rex, we don't know much about it since it's Sonic Extreme. How fantastic. Since we covered those two, I want to talk a little bit about the Rhino Bot. The Rhino Bot is a very interesting Batnik because it's the first one in the video that we actually saw that does not have any ladybug or motobug-like design. And the reason I included it is, again, for its singular wheel. Its usage is exactly like the motobug, except for the part of removing plants. On the video, I said that it's probably for removing trees or something like that because of its push force. And I actually want to change that a little bit. If we look at Angel Island, there's some spots of rocks that can either be destroyed or pushed, and the Rhino Bot would actually fit a whole lot more with that usage. And that is why I decided to include the Rhino Bot into that part, along with the Motobug, because it's more of a utility-like design, and it's not really made for combat. And it has the one wheel, right? It has very similar design ideas and concepts and all that. And that one is the more tame of the bunch. I hope you can kind of understand my decision on including that Batnik with the Motobug series. But once we get to the Buzz Bombers, don't worry, we're gonna have a lot of controversy there. Now that we talked about the Rhino Bot, I actually want to talk about a few other Rhino-like enemies. Such as the Rhino Tank from Sonic Adventure. And Rhino Tank is kind of an interesting one because it doesn't have the singular wheel this time, but it's a rhinoceros design. And now you may be thinking, oh, why did you not make your own rhinoceros design list? Well, that is because they are actually much different in spectrums of enemies, right? The Rhino Tank, at least, it follows very closely to the Rhino Bot, and probably it's like a bigger version, and that one could be made for removing trees. Or simply ramming, kind of like a tank and siege weapon, right? But one of them, and this kind of serves as an example to kind of compress enemies into having the same usage. Another one is the Rhino Liner. So, let's have a few more rhinoceros enemies, such as the Egg Chaser. The Egg Chaser is a very interesting design because this one is 100% made for combat, along with the Motobug from Sonic Forces, right? But this one is from Sonic 06, and it seems like it's capable of having shields and all that to ram things. It could be used for anything. It also seems to be pretty much the same exact design as the Rhino Bot should be, except way, way bigger, right? And it has a singular wheel as well, so there we have it. As for its usage, I don't think it would have any utility other than combat, really. This is a Batnik that is made on the modern era, and majority of the Batniks from the modern era are actually made for combat rather than utility. Though we have some, so we're gonna talk about them once we get there. The next one is the Triceratank, and the Triceratank is kind of another interesting one. Its usage, this one is actually a mystery. I'll lump it as well with combat because it doesn't seem... In Sonic Rush Adventure, there's not really any reason for it to be where it is. so it's not very interesting. So it's also probably made for combat, but this guy has a design very similar to the Rhino tank, right? So maybe it could be for removing or pushing anything out of the way, right? The big treadmills and all that, right? Having more force than a singular wheel. And now we have one last Batnik. Can you believe it? I missed one actual Motobug. Okay, the one actual Motobug that I missed is the black Motobug from Sonic Colors. It is absolutely nothing new. It's just a Motobug. Yep. Okay, onto the Buzz Bombers. Alright, we have quite a few of Buzz Bombers to talk about in this part of the video. So first off, the Buzz Bomber video, I would say that that is the one that I really made huge mistakes, I guess. I was kind of, how do I say this, insensitive? No one got offended for me making a tiny mistake, right? Grab your torches, everyone, I guess. Let's show me wrong. But anyways, I did make quite a few mistakes, and I didn't talk as many variants as I should. So first, let's talk about the actual Buzz Bomber. There's some Buzz Bombers that I missed, such as the Buzz Bomber from Sonic Spinball. I actually didn't talk about that guy. I had completely forgotten about him. His design is pretty much a buzzer. It is not a Buzz Bomber, but it is called a Buzz Bomber nevertheless. And since it's in Sonic Spinball, it's a defense mechanism, very similar to the Poby and all that, right? The next one I want to talk about is the Buzz Bomber from Sonic 4. Dang, where is it? I can't find it. No. I'm gonna search it up really quick. It doesn't appear. Well, I have notes on it. It doesn't appear for some reason. It apparently does appear, and it has way bigger rockets. I might have wrote it wrong, and it's actually a buzzer. We'll see it soon. Sonic Prime has a different variation on it. The Sonic Prime version is almost the same thing, but it seems more mechanical in its design. It's very interesting because it seems more of a design from the original Sonic game, right? Different than the cartoony toy version that Lost World has. But yeah, the Sonic Prime version is there. It's slightly different, and it's probably the best we have for seeing how it's supposed to look. And there's one that I forgot that actually has made me very mad. I forgot the version from the movies. Are you kidding me? The version of the movies is kind of interesting. It's very mechanical. It's kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. But it is way better than those little flying laser heads, right? It's way better than that. And so yeah, I just want to say those versions that I kind of missed. They all are Buzz Bombers. Buzz Bombers are kind of annoying and boring in usage because they're all the exact same thing. Next we have the Buzzer, and the Buzzer is one I really want to talk about because there's one of them I want to give more credit to and one I did not mention. So the one I want to give more credit to is the Stinger from Sonic Advance 2. Hello everyone, this is the second time I'm recording this because apparently the blessed microphone didn't work. So I actually want to talk a little bit more about the Stinger because the original audio that I had for the video actually didn't make enough justice to the Stinger again. And that is because the Stinger is a little bit more special than I originally thought. So first things first, I gotta say that there's actually two types of Stingers. One of them, it makes sense to be called the Stinger. The other one, not so much. But here's what they do. Let's first talk about the first version of the Stinger from Sonic Advance 1. So this version of the Stinger is more in part to that of the Buzzer and the Buzz Bomber, where it has the little bullet shooting thing, and yeah, it's as simple as it gets. The only notable difference, once again, is a little copter thing. Now the little copter thing, it's kind of interesting because when we see that enemy, we can see that it's much slower than even the buzzer actually. And you know what? It makes sense. It has the copter. It trades in the speed of the rockets for a better maneuverability. I hope I said that word right. But the Stinger from Sonic Advanced 1 is not that special. It probably is more of a defensive unit with still some offensive capabilities thanks to its projectile. But the one I really want to talk about is the one from Sonic Advanced 2. So the version from Sonic Advance 2 actually has only one notable difference, and that is instead of the little shooting part at its bottom part, it actually has, appropriately, a stinger. And guess what it does? It stings things. So now it makes much more sense why it has that name and why it has the copter. Because when we have the copter, it has much more control in the air, and it's capable of going forward and stinging Sonic and whoever is on its way. While if it had a rocket, it probably would blow up on the floor. Let's not lie, right? It probably wouldn't be able to go back up as easily as it would with a copter. But now here's kind of the interesting question. If it has a stinger, what is it made for? Because it still could be very well made for defensive and offensive capabilities, and that makes perfect sense, right? But I kind of want to bring a different idea into play, and that is the Stinger could very well be made for capturing critters. I mean, it's pretty fast enough to catch up with the critters, and it probably wouldn't I can't say the word, incapacitate them. There it is. Probably would be better in incapacitating them compared to the other versions of the Buzz Bomber, where it would have to aim and whatever all that. The Stinger just lunges forward, stab that little rat, and bring it over to Eggman and make some new machines, right? Another idea is that it could be made for some sort of terraforming, but I don't like that idea very much, even though the Stinger is powerful enough where it could be used for things like that. It can't really uproot things or change the land in the same way as other Batniks, so that one doesn't make as much sense. So yeah, I'd say the Stinger from Sonic Advance 2 is actually a completely different purpose than the rest of the Buzz Bombers and all that, and it's more made for capturing critters. So yeah, I just wanted to give it a little bit more credit that it deserves. Now hopefully the microphone works this time.
Editor, help!
Okay, let's continue on. We have one from Sonic Extreme, and this one I'm actually not sure, but I thought, might as well mention it. It's very similar to the buzzer at least, right? So we have the B-Bot from Sonic Extreme. Again, Sonic Extreme, it could be anything. It could have a completely different usage. Maybe this guy doesn't shoot, right? That's what makes a Buzz Bomber, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about it soon. But yeah, the B-Bot exists. There it is. And now, for the part we're all waiting for. What is a Buzz Bomber? I noticed that I didn't really talk about that in my video, and I put some Batniks there that... the comment from the same guy, right? And I appreciate the comment because now I get to explain it, right? And I know that I didn't do such a good job. Is that what makes a Buzz Bomber, right? So a Buzz Bomber is not necessarily an enemy that is a flying bug, right? If it were a flying bug, we could include several other enemies, such as, let's say, B from Sonic Blast, 3D Blast rather, and the B doesn't fit in with it. The B is actually a completely different Batnik in usage and everything else. So a Buzz Bomber, the way I would classify a Buzz Bomber, is an enemy that flies through the use of rockets or wings, that can also stay stationary on air. This is very important, mind you. So they fly and they're able to stay on the air and also go at high speeds. They can do one or the other. Next, they have to shoot a projectile. That is another very important thing. The projectile, it has to be a little bit specific. It has to have a trajectory. It can be rockets, or it can be bullets, or it can be an energy bullet, right? Or it can be completely different projectile, like a stinger or something like that, right? it has to have some sort of projectile, and it has to be able to aim for it. And there's actually 2 enemies that I'd say I'd make a mistake, but 3 of them that fit in perfectly with the buzz bombers. And you're probably, well, let's talk about the ones that shouldn't be here. First off, the arrow cannon. I put in the arrow cannon because I had no idea where else I could put him, but in retrospective, he shouldn't be here. So that one was my mistake. The arrow cannon is not a buzz bomber like enemy. Even though it has similar properties, it actually should go on somewhere else. The next one I want to talk about is the sentry bug. The sentry bug, it actually is a much different design, and when I was looking through some enemies, I noticed that the sentry bug actually has a much bigger similar design to the hoverby from Knuckles Chaotix. I think that's the game. I'm pretty sure it's either Sonic CD or Knuckles Chaotix, and it should probably be categorized with those enemies rather than a buzz bomber. And it probably shouldn't, maybe not even with those enemies. I don't know yet. But yeah, the sentry bug and the arrow cannon, I made a big mistake. Now, for the 3 others that were right after the Poby. Now, those ones, I don't remember the name exactly. It's like the Egg Buster and Egg Hunter, if I remember right. And then there's the other one that is like the SA2 gun design, right? Those 3, they actually fit in really well. Especially the Egg Hunter and Egg Buster. I think those 2, they have very similar designs, with only really, I think it was the Egg Buster, the white one. They have that laser attack that goes around it, right? That's kind of why I thought, oh, I'm gonna include the sentry bug. But no, it's different. But they are able to fly at high speeds, stay on air, and shoot to any direction. They are very similar to a buzz bomber, and I'd say they are a buzz bomber, 100%. Now, the one I should talk about is the one I can't remember. We're gonna call it the gun bomber. Why not? Because it has the design of the robots from Gun and all that, right? That design is very different from buzz bombers. It doesn't have any characteristics or kind of shape design that would imply a buzz bomber, such as, again, the Egg Hunter and the Egg Buster. These 2 guys, at the very least, have a buzz bomber like shape. You can kind of see it, right? If we take lines and we see kind of like head, you can have the distinction between head, body, and place that you shoot. But the gun bomber, you don't have that. It's actually a very different design, and it doesn't look anything like it. However, it has every other property of a buzz bomber. And consider this. This is one Batnik, and I don't think it would be fair to make one video for this singular Batnik or include it with like the mosh pit of like the Batniks that don't fit anywhere else, because its usage is just like the buzz bomber. It doesn't look like a buzz bomber, but it can fly, it can go fast, it can stay on air, and it can shoot projectile. In fact, it shoots 2 types of projectiles. And if the Poby with the chain can be included, I would say that this guy can be included. Because it has the same purpose. The Poby at least has a very more similar design to the buzz bomber, but I simply did not want to make a separate section only for that enemy if it has the same usage as a buzz bomber. Now, for the fish video, I think that video I did a little bit better than the others. I probably should talk a little bit more of what makes a chopper and a jaws. I decided to put in the jaws and the masher and all that, those 2 enemies, because they are very unique and they fit in with the other fish. So I thought, you know what, let's include them. There's pretty much only 2 or maybe 3 enemies, right? One of them was from Sonic Extreme. Let's include them. I think they're very similar. There's 2 Batniks that I was thinking of including until I decided to remove from the video, which are the Barrier Angler and the Eleki Angler from Sonic Rush Adventure. I actually played all the way up there just to be able to grab footage for those enemies before I decided to scrap them from the list. And they actually have the same usage and purpose as a Jaws and Masher and all that, right? It's not a masher, no, it's a chop chop. What am I talking about? They had the same usage, however, I think that they are more unique in a sense where they can have, they can be grouped with other enemies from underwater or that create kind of projectiles like that, right? And so I decided to remove them. So, TLDR of this video, this is what? 30 minutes? Dang, I'm sorry everyone. And this is gonna be very lazily thrown together. I do have a video, just letting you know. I have a video that I will be working on. I will be editing my gameplay from Sonic X Shadow Generations. Just letting you know that it will be the next video. And then I'll be working on crab meat. And yeah. I guess the TLDR of this video is my lists consists of enemies that are very closely tied together and that are a little bit more that have the same purpose and not only the same design. It has to follow kind of the same design ideas, such as the Rhinobot and the Egg Chaser, right? Or it can have exactly same purpose. And if it doesn't fit in with design with any others, I'll include it too, like the gun bomber, right? And with that, I think we are done with this video. So yeah, I saw a comment of someone wanting me to make a video about the egg ponds, and don't worry, I'll do it. It'll take a while because I kind of want to focus on following the order. But the more Badniks that I'm doing, the much less I have to cover. With only 3 videos so far, I have done a lot from the Sonic Wiki. There's like barely any Badniks left. And the more that we do on order like this, the closer we're gonna get to the egg ponds. And I'm excited to talk about the egg ponds because they are probably an evolutionary process of designs from the Egg Robo. They're not gonna be grouped with Egg Robos. Don't worry, I'm not that crazy, but I will mention that perhaps because they're very interesting. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's a very casual one. I don't expect this to get many likes or views. But with that, thank you very much for watching my videos and for all of the support. And goodbye.